Take a first look at the brand new compilation supplement from Games Workshop. This is Planetary Onslaught, and it combines Planet Strike, Stronghold Assault, and Cities of Death. Spiky bits. Alright, welcome back, Hobby Maniacs. Rob Baer with you again, talking about some Planetary Onslaught. Now, this is the new supplement, but it's not really super new. Let's face it. It's a compilation of 3 previous supplements that Games Workshop has put out. And to be honest, like the Cities of Death one came out like I want to say like 10 years ago. I don't even think it was 6th edition, to be quite honest, because when they put out this terrain features and things like that, that was when they dropped it, and it's almost worth it just for that update of those rules in there. Now, this is basically, I guess if you want to say no new material, that would be kind of correct. I mean, it's updated material. There's a lot of stuff in here that's updated over to 7th. Of course, it compiles all of the data sheets from those other 3 books that I mentioned, and it also takes fortification data sheets from the main rulebook as well, which those weren't a fortification slot. Those were basically how to play with scenery on your table. So now those are fortifications, and there's a note in here about those. Now, this book is 112 pages. It's basically codex size. It's $40 retail. It features 21 new data sheets, 2 of the networks, I guess you want to call them, which is basically multiple fortifications into one data sheet, and then of course the 6 tidewall formations. It does not have the Hamatrope reactor rules that just came out for the model. So the rules do come with that model, but they are not in here. So obviously keep your, I don't know if that's going to be something that's in the White Dwarf next month or something, but keep your sheet that comes in the rule book, because there isn't any rules out here. Now, jumping inside the book, you can kind of get a better idea of what exactly comes in this bad boy. So like I said, Planet Strike, Stronghold Assault, and Cities of Death. These are all updated to 7th edition, like in here, Stronghold Assault, if you compare this to the existing supplement on its own, the Siege War missions, there's actually more. So, and they updated them with command benefits. So a lot of the stuff is updated straight up to 7th edition, which is kind of cool to see. Now, from a fluffy point of view, this book is great because you basically get 3 sets of new rules, and at the end of each one, they give you a little campaign on how to string them together, which is pretty neat. Like if you're always searching for, I want to play a campaign, but I don't know which one, well, maybe this is the thing for you, because basically it kind of goes, from landing to, trying to take over a fort, and then basically getting behind the lines, and you're in the city now doing that whole, going door to door kind of type deal, which is kind of, or block to block, I guess, is more city fight. But that's what all this is here. And we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. I'm going to show you a couple of things and show you how they updated a few things. But the bulk of, I think, what people are interested in are the new data sheets over here, which, like I said, there's 21 of these, well, plus the 6 for the tidewall. And then, of course, the armory, which is the things that you can upgrade, like taking the escape hatches and things like that. But, overall, the book is cool. It's basically got this intro section about, what the whole thing is, and then it jumps into the mini sections, which are the fluff sections of the previous supplements, right? So, like I said, it is updated. There isn't a whole lot of new content. But that being said, it's kind of nice to have it all in one. Like here's the updated Planet Strike. Actually, I don't know if the Planet Strike ones were updated, but judging by the wording where they give them command benefits, I know Planet Strike, we didn't see that sort of thing. That wasn't even a rules consideration back then, so I would assume that these are updated. I don't have the Planet Strike book, I apologize. But judging by the Siege War here in the Stronghold Assault section, where this section has been updated from the current supplement, I could probably, and they gave them 3 more missions right here to roll into D6. It's probably safe to assume that these are updated as well, giving them command benefits and different things for the invaders and the defenders right there. So obviously you could check this based on your current book. If this is something new, well then, hey, and you enjoy playing Planet Strike, well, there it is right there. To pick up this book. The same with the Stronghold Assault. You can definitely compare this. They are new. Jumping over to the Cities of Death, they changed some stuff in here too. I'm pretty sure that these were not called objectives in the past. They were called stratagems. I think they changed that over. Of course, there are 6 missions in here as well. And then this is very similar. Back when they debuted this back in 2006, it was more like a the precursor to like the Maelstrom, which we see, you know, in the current Maelstrom missions for Warhammer 40,000. This is kind of putting a flip on that and kind of kicking it back over to the Maelstrom style, you know, D66. Basically, you could get, you know, the Cities of Death. I don't know if they sold the card set back then. I actually really... It says if you own a deck of City Fight cards, you can draw on the top card instead of rolling the D6. You must do this openly if the mission instructs you otherwise. Okay, so I guess they did put out the set of cards back then, so that's good to know. Now, there's all the missions. There's 6 of them. And then we jump up to the ladder campaign. And then it kicks over to the Planetary Onslaught, which is kind of combining a lot of, you know, phases where you basically take the Stronghold Assault, the Cities of Death, and then kicking it over, the Planet Strike, and then to the Stronghold Assault. So that's how that works. And then it gets into the data sheet section, which is everything we know and love. Now, the designer's note right here basically says, hey, some of these data sheets are scenery rules that came over from the main rulebook, which I already mentioned to you guys, which you're going to see in here. Now, as far as the layout of this, it pretty much goes just like Stronghold Assault till it starts getting to the back where there's like some newer stuff. Now, a couple of changes I noticed right off the bat, and remember there's 21 of these, was, let's see if we can find it. So the Wall of Martyrs, or the Wall Martyrs, Vengeance Weapon Battery, is now a small impassable building, armor 14 and 3 hull points. That is updated from the old Stronghold Assault book because it was a little kind of weird. These rules had come out just before we got, they changed things over from structure points to hull points. I guess going into 7th edition. So this was always kind of a big question mark. You cannot use them as emplacements, which they specify as well. But, and they basically or they do the blind fire kind of thing. Then, if you look, now it isn't too crazy of a thing, but if you look at the Sky Shield landing pad, they actually give it a free upgrade to Ready for Takeoff now, instead of having to pay the 5 points. So that was kind of cool. Ready for Takeoff is free now and part of it. Now, I tried comparing everything, every little piece in here, and of course we're going to talk more about that in the tips and tactics and maybe go over some stuff which may be common knowledge for a lot of folks out there, like how to use these in the who's and whys, like why you would even take an Imperial Bunker, and some strategies to give it a cover save, you know, some of the upgrades in our tips and tactics video, which will be out probably next week, because remember, these are always a week behind. We do a first look where I'm not going to show you kind of everything. I'm just going to kind of give you a broad overview, let you decide to vote with your hobby dollars whether you want to pick up this book, and then we delve a little bit deeper into the book itself. And there's all the Tidewall ones, and then in the back, the Fortification Armory. Nothing super new here. Of course, you've got the obstacle sections we saw in the past, the Fortification Armory itself, you know, stuff like the escape hatch, adding void shields to things, then the ranged weapon section, you know, for the things like the Vengeance batteries or anything else that it might have, you know, stuff like the Tau Tidewall. So that is the whole book in a nutshell, to be quite honest. Like, it is a compilation. There isn't any, air quotes, new material in here. It's just mostly a compilation and an update or a redo to 7th edition. Now, curiously, they did take some stuff out of the main rulebook. What that means, don't know, because, you know, maybe in the next rulebook they're not going to have terrain in here and they're going to be like, just use the Planetary Onslaught book. Who knows? But I could see that happening because there are things in here that were in there, like all of the city fight buildings, you know, the forest, I think they called it Trista Copes, and the Aegis defense lines, of course, were already in. But it does reference, actually, there's a section in here where it references back to the main rulebook too. So it's hard to say what exactly GW intends to do with this book, but long story short, a little bit cheaper to buy one $40 book than a bunch of the supplements out there. Actually, where is it? So here's the section where it says refer back to Warhammer 40k, the rules for these particular upgrades right here, or the actual rules. They give you the points, but then you have to go and figure out what they are. So that is pretty much the whole book in a nutshell. Questions, comments, errors, erratas, leave it in the comments below. We always love hearing from you guys.
Deleted scenes, bonus content, and all the interviews and post-game wrap-up videos can be located in the Hall of Veterans on thelongwar.net. Visit thelongwar.net today and try a week completely free with no strings attached. That's not all. TheLongWar.net is also your hobby resource for exclusive early access with an ad-free experience to all your favorite videos. Members of the Hall of Veterans gain early exclusive access to multiple hobby videos,